It was a time long ago. Behind the dusty centuries, there lived a kingdom ruled by a strange king. The king was neither evil nor cruel, but his simplicity and innocence were renowned throughout the palace. One day the king was standing in his palace, chatting with his courtiers, when suddenly two courtiers arrived and said, "Your Majesty, there is a prisoner in prison who was sentenced to death by the king's father, but his father died just before his death. Now it is up to you to decide whether to pardon him or execute him." Unwise, the king, without thinking, immediately ordered the prisoner's execution. The prisoner was a very cunning, intelligent, and quick-witted man. He certainly didn't want to be handed over to death so easily. But who could resist the king's orders? Time passed and the day of execution drew near. The announcement sent the entire court and city into a frenzy. On the day the sentence was to be executed, he was brought to the Ares field, where the young man and the emperor himself were present, seated on their throne to watch the spectacle. The gallows were ready and the rope was already draped. When the prisoner was placed on the gallows and the noose was placed around his neck, the emperor ordered 2 horses to be brought because he had a special way of getting his executions done. No sooner had the order been given than 2 strong horses were presented in the field. Then the king announced that the prisoner's last wish should be asked, because it is the custom in this world that the last wish of the dying person is definitely asked. The entire field fell silent. Everyone's eyes were fixed on this clever criminal, wondering what he would say before his last breath. He came closer to the prisoner and said softly, "The king wants to know your last wish. Ask for whatever you want. We will try to fulfill it." That man, who was ordinary in appearance but was superior to many in intelligence and cleverness, he said with great confidence, "What could be my last wish? Just make sure that the 2 horses brought for my execution must be thoroughbreds. Don't let a bad horse kill me." Hearing this, Vajra was astonished. He immediately conveyed this unusual wish to the emperor. The emperor, already weak in intellect and understanding, immediately flew into a rage and ordered, "Bring me 2 thoroughbred horses from wherever you can find them." Soldiers and people rushed everywhere. A search began in the village, stables, and racing areas. But even as evening fell, such horses were still missing. Finally exhausted, the king announced that the execution was postponed until tomorrow. 2 thoroughbred horses must be provided by tomorrow morning. If the horses weren't provided by tomorrow, all the ministers would lose their positions. Upon hearing this announcement, the entire court fell silent, and every minister's heart sank. Everyone left the palace in despair. But the king's advisors remained undeterred. They sent messengers to other countries overnight, searched the drums, and finally, in the dead of night, brought 2 horses before the king. The king, delighted with the horses, praised the ministers, for this had become a matter of pride for him. Failure to carry out his order would be seen as a weakness, which he could not tolerate. That very night, another prisoner approached the prison and whispered to this shrewd man, "Brother, you've got a day's respite today." "But what about tomorrow?" the prisoner replied with a tone of utter calm and faith. "Just as I've survived today, if God has destined my life, I'll survive tomorrow too." His face betrayed no fear, but a strange, confident smile, as if he were certain that tomorrow would bring a new twist. The next morning, the same commotion erupted again. The scribe, Amra, and the king himself appeared in royal regalia. The criminal was brought back to the scene in 2. Horses were brought and presented. Vajra said in a loud voice, "Thanks to the king's mercy, your wish has been granted. Both purebred horses are here. Now prepare for the execution." But the man, who was so clever and astute, suddenly shouted, "Wait! This is completely wrong. Only one of these horses is purebred, while the other is wild." Hearing this, the entire arena erupted in commotion. Dear friends, thank you from the bottom of my heart for watching our videos and encouraging us. I have a small request. Some friends watch our videos and leave without subscribing. Believe me, it takes me days of hard work and a lot of expense to make a single video. We don't need any financial help from you. All we ask is that you watch our videos until the end. Be sure to like, share, and comment. If you haven't seen our channel's previous videos, be sure to watch them as well. In the comments, please write your city and country and where you're watching from. Thank you very much. The king stood up in anger, and the Mushir's faces also showed signs of astonishment. The king summoned a special Mushir and asked in a stern tone, "Tell me, isn't this horse purebred?" The Mushir replied timidly. "Your Majesty," he replied, "actually, one horse is a purebred, but we couldn't find another one anywhere. So we took a wild horse from a landowner." Hearing this, the king was not only angry but also astonished at how his order and reality had become so different. The king then called the prisoner to his side and asked, "How do you know which horse is purebred and which is wild?" The prisoner replied with intelligence and wisdom, "Your Majesty, a purebred horse stands erect, its tail and head in continuous motion, whereas a wild horse yelps and moves uncontrollably. If you look closely, you can see a clear difference between the two." Hearing this, the entire court fell silent, and everyone spoke only of astonishment. The king, struck by his intelligence and wit, thought this man was truly extraordinary. He immediately decided that instead of his death, he should live so that the kingdom could benefit from his intelligence and resourcefulness. So the king ordered his execution to be cancelled and he be sentenced to life imprisonment. The prisoner was brought back to jail and locked up. Now, a harsh sentence like life imprisonment was no small matter. As the night deepened, another prisoner approached and said in surprise, "Brother, you've turned out to be very clever. But now tell me, how will you escape this life imprisonment? It's a permanent sentence. Here you'll have to fight for half a loaf of bread every day. Hanging would be better. It would be a one-time pain at least." The wise prisoner replied calmly, "I told you yesterday that whatever Allah wills happens. If Allah wills, even this life imprisonment will end. People think one thing, but the decision is in the hands of the Almighty." Time passed. Sometime later, a precious necklace was brought to the king's palace, and the king wanted to buy it. The necklace was filled with sparkling diamonds and precious stones. The merchant claimed that all the diamonds in the necklace were real and natural. However, some advisors claimed that the diamonds were fake. The king, already weak in understanding, became suspicious. He liked the necklace very much, but the confusion between real and fake prevented him from making a decision. At that very moment, the king remembered the same intelligent criminal who had instantly distinguished the horses. The king immediately ordered that the prisoner be produced in court. When he arrived, the king said, "Now is the true test of your intelligence. Look at this necklace and tell me whether the diamonds in it are real or fake." The prisoner examined the necklace very carefully, and after a moment's thought said, "Your Majesty, please give me this necklace for a while. I will tell you after a thorough investigation." Granted permission, he took the necklace and left the court. He left. After a while, he returned and confidently declared, "Your Majesty, only 2 diamonds in this necklace are real. The rest are fake." The king immediately summoned the merchant, and surprisingly, the merchant confirmed the same truth. Once again, the king was astonished by this man's intelligence. He was astonished. He immediately asked, "Tell me, how did you know which diamond was real and which was fake?" The prisoner replied confidently, "Your Majesty, a real diamond doesn't heat up in sunlight, while a fake diamond heats up quickly. I just tried this and immediately saw the difference." The king was pleased with his answer and, praising him, ordered that he be given 5 loaves of bread as a reward. He thought he was receiving a large reward. But as the prisoner was led back to prison, He could not contain the sarcasm within him. He said with anger and contempt, "What is this?" The reward for such great wisdom was just 5 loaves of bread. Who does this Nanpai's son think he is? He felt no shame. He had uttered this sentence after careful consideration. But it was extremely dangerous because, in front of a less intelligent but disloyal ruler like the king, these words were a grave insult. And the king could never tolerate such an insult. As soon as he entered the prison, another prisoner quickly approached him. He asked nervously, "What have you said in front of the advisors?" The wise prisoner told the truth, and the other prisoner, alarmed, replied, "Now your work is over. You'll be hanged straight away." But the wise man smiled and said, "Those with wisdom rule over all, and those with luck rule over those with wisdom." There was a strange confidence in his eyes, as if he knew that this story still had a major twist to come. The advisors, in a panic, immediately informed the king that the prisoner had insulted him and called him a Nanpai. Hearing this, the king's face turned red and he began to tremble with anger. He fell down and ordered him to be brought to the court immediately. "Such a shameless man has dared to disrespect me." Shortly after, the guards seized the prisoner and brought him before the king. The king glared at him with sharp eyes and said, "You foolish man, I would have forgiven you. But you have insulted me." The prisoner replied, with great gentleness and confidence, "Your Majesty, I did not lie. If you doubt it, ask all the elders of the kingdom who your father was and what he did." The king recovered in an instant. He thought, "If I hang him immediately, the ambassador and the people will think I am afraid of the truth." The king's conscience was not acceptable. He decided to first gather all the elders of the kingdom and find out the truth himself. The order was issued, and the advisors gathered the elders from across the country, including Umar Rashid and Majaz, in the court. When everyone stood before him, the emperor loudly asked, "Tell me the truth. Who was my father and what did he do?" The entire court fell silent. No one dared to answer. When the question was repeated, an elderly man stepped forward and spoke in a trembling voice. "Your Majesty, the truth is that before your father, a royal dynasty ruled this kingdom. Your father was a baker in his palace, making bread for the advisors. One day, someone kidnapped the emperor's only daughter. The emperor announced that the kingdom would be given to whoever brought her back, as he had no other heir. Your father, a poor but brave man, found the princess within 2 weeks, as promised. The king gave him the throne, but he concealed his true identity so that future generations would consider him a royal heir. When the king heard the truth about his father from the elders, only one question lingered in his mind. All of this is true, but how did this prisoner know that I was a prince? Was your father a baker?" He immediately summoned the prisoner back to his court. The king asked in a tone of mixed surprise and anger, "Everything you say and every prophecy proves true. But tell me, how did you know I was born to a baker?" The prisoner replied in a mocking tone, "Your Majesty, if you were a royal and a royal, you would have had sincerity in your heart. If you had, you would have recognized my intelligence, my honesty, and my ability and given me a high position. But you only rewarded me with 5 loaves of bread." "Why bread?" "Because for someone whose father was a baker, bread is the most precious thing. From that name, I understood that you were the son of a baker." Hearing this, the king was stunned. Composing himself, he asked, "Would you be happy if I pardoned your imprisonment?" The prisoner replied with a faint smile, "Of course, but first let me find out what kind of germ I'm trapped in. You never bothered to ask why I'm imprisoned." The king asked immediately in a commanding tone, "Okay, fine. Tell me what your crime is." The prisoner replied with deep seriousness, "Your Majesty, send all the advisors out first. Otherwise you'll be disgraced," the king said irritably. "Speak quickly. Why should I send them out?" Seeing the king's anger, the prisoner finally revealed the truth. "I am not a criminal," the prisoner said in a pained voice. I am the son of the daughter of the same royal family whose throne you now occupy. My grandfather was the one who handed over the kingdom to your father. He was true to his word. But as soon as he passed away, your father, out of fear, imprisoned my mother, my father, and me. The sole fear that we might claim our inheritance someday is the only reason we are still suffering the consequences of this. Fear, the prisoner continued. Your Majesty, both my parents died in prison. Your father ordered my execution as well, so that my lineage would be wiped out forever, and his path would be clear. The order was issued, but whatever God wills happens. He himself departed before that time. Then you came to the throne and, without even asking my whereabouts, carried out the same decision. Hearing this, the king's eyes welled with tears. He embraced the prisoner and said, I'm ashamed of your innocence. Come, from today the kingdom is yours. Take charge of this throne. And thus a prisoner rose to the throne. The elders have rightly said that when God wills, it doesn't take long to turn a beggar into a king, and it doesn't take a moment to turn a king into a beggar. So, friends, this was a story of Allah's will, the decisions of fate, and the insight of a wise man. Even today, if we look at our society, everyone considers themselves wise. No one wants to give up their authority, and everyone is chasing power, ambition, and greed. But the reality is that if a person is unworthy of a position, it is better for them to step back. Otherwise, they not only ruin themselves, but also harm their home, their people, and their country. Such people are never happy, because the higher the position and the lesser the wisdom, the greater the burden that breaks a person from within. Therefore, it is better for a person to accept responsibility according to their wisdom, their knowledge, and their abilities. This is the essence of true wisdom. And secondly, when Allah wants something, He knows who is worthy of where. If you are worthy of the throne, even prison cannot stop you. And if you are not worthy, even the throne cannot honor you. Both are granted by Allah. A person who achieves a position through oppression and tyranny ultimately finds that position itself becomes a noose around his neck. Therefore, the true path to success lies in being patient with Allah's decisions and knowing oneself. I hope you learned a lot from this story. Majid Aishi. Be sure to watch every video on our channel for Sabak Amos stories. Subscribe to the channel. Press the bell icon. Be sure to write the name of your country and city in the comments. If possible, please like and share the video. Thank you very much for your support. Written same story.